all of us are one experience away from discovering a new love or passion, right? So like for me, the philosophy is to put as many experiences in front of kids as possible to ultimately develop a love or passion early on so they can cultivate that as they grow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inspiring Teachers, the Honored podcast, where we shine a spotlight on life-changing teachers across the country. I'm Hannah, your podcast host, and our podcast is brought to you by Honored, which is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers nationwide. Our mission is to inspire and retain great teachers, keeping them in the classroom as long as possible. Every month at Honored, we select an exceptional educator in the United States to be the recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. Each honoree, as we call them, gets a $5,000 cash reward, and we then tell the story on our website and our social media platforms of how that teacher has impacted their students' lives. To learn more about our organization, you can go to our website at honored.org. While you're there, if you have a teacher you would like to recognize, you can nominate them at honored.org/nominate. We are so excited to have you listening in on another Honoree podcast episode. Today, we are joined by Kurk Watson, a drama teacher at Albert M. Greenfield School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Kurk is also the co-founder of the organization OPEX Park, which works to provide children the opportunity to cultivate their future and discover the value of academics and athletics through play and unique experiences. He was nominated for this award by Summer House Institute, which is an organization that exists to grow and develop young men of color who will soon finish college and enter the workforce through an affinity-based learning model. To help share the impact of Kurk's teaching, we are also joined today by student Nate and his parent, Erica. Before we dive into Kurk Watson's story, we are excited to kick off our honoree episode with our special segment, Teachers Who Inspired, which is featured at the beginning of each episode. Here, we invite well-known individuals to share a story about a teacher who had a lasting impact on their lives. These stories remind us that behind every great achievement, there's often an inspiring teacher who believed in their potential. Today, we're thrilled to have our guest on our special segment, Sherrese Smith, the Global Managing Partner of Paul Hastings. As Global Managing Partner, Sherrese helps direct the growth, management, and strategy of the firm. She previously served as the Vice Chair of the Data Privacy and Cybersecurity Practice. Sherrese is known as one of the country's preeminent data privacy and cybersecurity and media and technology attorneys, and is consistently ranked as a leading lawyer in Chambers USA and Legal 500. Sherrese is also a member of Honored's Board of Directors.
My name is Sherrese Smith, and I am Global Managing Partner of Paul Hastings, which is a global law firm based out of the United States primarily. My favorite teacher and the one who had the most impact on me was a woman named Betty Burkett, who was my social studies teacher at South Florence High School in Florence, South Carolina. In addition to being a teacher who just brought studies alive and really helped us kind of find our full potential, she took a personal interest in me. And said, I know that you can do even more than you're doing. She was the one who introduced me to certain clubs, certain academic clubs, certain scholarship opportunities, and even helped me focus on what I wanted to do when I went off to college and how I should focus on that opportunity. So I really am always grateful for her and the interest she took in me and the belief that she took in me to say that you can be a success in anything that you do.
We are so grateful to be able to share that wonderful audio for our Teachers Who Inspired segment. Throughout the rest of the episode, we'll share Kurk Watson's story and the amazing impact he has on his students. To start us off, you'll hear from Kurk, who shares his journey into teaching.
I started teaching, I want to say in 2013. Post-college, I actually went into the medical field, and then realized very quickly that it was not for me. And then I really wanted to get back into like the roots of where I started, which was like in camping, like overnight camping and day camp, which I really flourished and loved throughout my college years and high school years. So I wanted to see how that could combine in a non-traditional way of teaching. So like through athletics and maybe like arts. And so I taught at a local public school before joining Greenfield to do their arts program along with some like socialized recess. So then once I got into that system, that's when this is what I need to be. So it all started from like Camping World when through my high school and college years. I love it. It keeps me going. New year, new kids come in, and just to see the thrilling faces on what they're looking to do through the experience that that I provide, not just through the arts, but in other programs as well.
In talking with Kirk student Nate, he shared how Kirk's approach brings an undeniable energy and excitement to drama. For Nate, drama isn't just an extracurricular, it's the highlight of his day. More than just a teacher, Kirk serves as a mentor, guiding his students to grow not only as performers, but as individuals.
Well, I've been doing this for a while now. I realize whenever I go into like a new one of these productions, I always like enter just feeling really excited. Like I feel like Kirk always makes this entire process so much fun that like I feel like I really get to have like a good time. Like we always have like drama right after school. And I'll remember like leaving school and like, yes, drama today. It's like I always have like such a great time. Like I feel like if I was like had like a different director, that it would just feel so much different. Like I feel like Herb really gets to know us. Like I feel like I could talk to him. Like he doesn't like feel like a teacher. Like we don't call him Mr. Watson. We call him Captain Kirk. And that's his formal name. We call him Cap. And that's because like he's not a teacher. He's like a mentor to us. And I feel like the way just he gets to know us just makes the entire experience feel more comfortable.
For Kirk, teaching is about creating opportunities for students to explore new things, sparking their curiosity and helping them discover passions. By encouraging them to step out of their comfort zones, he provides a pathway for students to uncover interests they might not have otherwise realized. He shares more about the guiding philosophies of his organization, OPEX Park, and how these align with his approach to teaching.
Philosophies for me is our model for OPEX Park, which stands for Opportunities and Experience That Work Mixed Together. So OPEX Park is exactly what it sounds like. So that experience for each and everybody, including you and I, all of us are one experience away from discovering a new love or passion, right? So like for me, the philosophy is to put as many experiences in front of kids as possible to ultimately develop a love or passion early on so they can cultivate that as they grow. So a lot of the drama programs, a lot of the culinary programs, non-traditional sports that I offer, kids at a young age are able to experience that, and as they experience it, say, "Man, I love that. Like, I want to focus in on it." And I hear countless of stories, especially when it comes to drama, of how many kids have experienced it when they were young, and then went on to college and post college. It's like this is what I want to focus in on. So that's kind of philosophy like that I try to build on is just providing as many experiences as possible to kind of shape the love and passion early on.
In talking with Kirk, Nate, and Nate's parent Erica, they reflected on the productions that stood out as their favorite. Each of them shared how their favorite productions left a lasting impact on them.
My favorite thing that I've done with Kirk was definitely Clue, which we did 2 years ago. I had a great time in it. The cast was awesome. Kirk was awesome. We all just like everything kind of worked. And things went wrong, things messed up, but like the entire experience was so great. Like I felt like we really had a great bond. The show went amazing. I just had a great time. That's just my personal favorite.
I think Clue was just like phenomenal, but I think what made Nate stand out as a student for me was Addams Family. So like that, you know, for him to embody a character like that at such a young age was like amazing to like watch. Like Addams Family was like the first time I was like, whoa, okay, this kid is it. Like he got it. He understands it. So that was my favorite thing to work with you on. Clue was phenomenal as always, but yeah, Addams Family for me was a standout.
Yeah, it's kind of a toss up between those two. Adam's Family was like It's kind of like, can he really pull this off? The curtain's open and he comes out, and I'm like, oh my God, is he going to be able to do it? And he did. And like, oh, that was so cool. And then, like, after the first few lines, I was kind of like, okay, I can relax. He's got this. That was really cool. But then, yeah, Clue was just like next level. Like the cast just clicked, everything clicked. It was phenomenal. And it wasn't a musical, right? So the cast had to learn hundreds of lines. There was no like, okay, now we're taking a break to sing a song. It was just quick paced dialogue, like, quick scene changes. But I mean, it was just, they were just on constantly. And it was, I mean, I really thought, wow, he's really being ambitious with this one. But I mean, he didn't just pull it off. It was unbelievable. It was really something to watch. So yeah, it's really a toss up for me between those two.
Erica shares how Kurk has taught Nate that perfection isn't the goal. It's okay to make mistakes, have fun, and keep moving forward. Through Kurk's guidance, students learn the value of empathy and the importance of being kind and supportive leaders. This quiet confidence that Kurk embodies and encourages has helped Nate grow into a compassionate and self-assured leader, both on and off the stage.
I think for Nate, working with Kurk in the drama program for the past, this will be his 6th year. I think it's really helped him realize that you don't always have to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. There've been a lot of mistakes, and like literally in the middle of a live performance, it happens all the time. And rather than freeze up or blame himself or blame others, the kids, they just go with it, and then they have great stories to tell afterwards. So that's definitely, for Nate, I think he's always been kind of like a perfectionist, right? And he'll like beat himself up sometimes. But I think this has really helped him like, hey, it's okay. We can make mistakes. We can have fun with it, right? Have great stories to tell afterwards. And I think the other thing that I think is important to mention is that I feel like Kurk has showed Nate, and I assume the other kids too, how to be a leader. That you don't have to be a dictator. You don't have to like, beat it into kids. You can lead with kindness and with a kind of quiet confidence. You don't have to be an authoritarian to get the kids to listen to you. And I've seen Nate take that when he's in a leadership role, when he's trying to teach kids, either helping them with the script, or Nate also dances, helping them learn a choreography routine that he came up with, right? And I see him kind of emulating the way Kurk leads, right? Just with like empathy and humor and kindness. And I know it can be frustrating sometimes. Like he'll come home and he'll tell me his frustrations. I'm sure Kurk gets frustrated too, but never lets it show, right? And so I see when Nate's like working with the kids, he's patient and so yeah. I mean, Kurk's a great role model in that way.
Kurk reflects on how the foundation he provides empowers his students to shape their own futures. For him, the greatest reward is watching them grow and achieve far beyond what he initially offered, knowing he played a part in their journey.
I think watching them grow, like I said before, like into like young thespians as they, leave Greenfield, or even outside of like the Greenfield. When I say Greenfield, sorry, this Greenfield School is what we're referring to. So, watching them grow in the arts in itself, to me, is amazing. And I think that the remarkable moments that they have that I forget about, and then when they come back to share those moments, that something I may have said, something I may have done, a gift that I may have given them that kind of shaped who they are today. That's the things that for me that like keeps me going. And I love to see them, like grow in that aspect, for them to come back and say like, hey, because you said this is the reason why I did this, or because you gave me this, or because you gave me this experience. So, and that goes back to that power of experience is what I live by. Is my life work, like I said, to provide as many experiences as possible. So, yeah, to see them grow in the arts in general is great. I think the most memorable moments that I may have is just watching people who I've worked with or taught go on to do major theaters. One of which, not necessarily school related, but camp related, went on to go on to Broadway. So, all because of an experience that was provided not by myself, not just by myself, but a group of us who wanted to put that in front of people. So that was pretty awesome. So, yeah, those are the moments that I like, just to watch, sit in that audience and watch them grow beyond something that I provided for them.
When talking with Nate, he shares how Kirk's adaptability and unwavering, never give up mentality have made a lasting impression on him. Kirk's ability to adjust to any challenge inspires his students to face obstacles with resilience and determination.
Something that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough that Kirk does is his adaptability. He always has this just mentality of never giving up. I don't think there's been a single show I've ever been in with Kirk that something hasn't went completely wrong, where someone hasn't dropped out last minute, or a set falls apart on stage, or someone completely messes up their lines, or any number of ridiculous moments. But no matter what, I'll be on stage, or I'll look at Kirk and I see he remains calm. And when I see that he's calm, when inside I'm completely freaking out, I'm like, what's going on? I'm super nervous, because I care about it. But just to see how he stays calm in the craziest moments, it gives me confidence. And just to feel like if you put in the work, you'll get results. You know? Like, if I'm at home, I'm going to practice my lines. Why? Because he shows me that if you put in the work, you get results. Things work out when you practice, So I feel like his adaptability is really, like, just such a big factor.
When reflecting on his adaptability, Kirk shares the foundation of his approach, the understanding that we are all human and mistakes are inevitable. This mindset not only shapes his teaching philosophy, but also reinforces what Nate admires most about him, the ability to handle challenges with grace and turn setbacks into opportunities for growth.
Yeah, it just comes from my realization that we're all human, and I know that sounds cliche, but I'll dive deeper into that. That things are going to happen, and if I understand the root of why it's happening or what's happening, then it's like, okay, that makes sense. Let's deal with it and let's see how it plays out. And some things, and sometimes like the things that Nate are referring to, are actually like added to the situation, which makes it positive. So if a set completely falls down, you may get a laughter from the crowd. So it's just like, oh, that's a good response. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep going. So for me, I understand that mistakes are going to happen. We all going to make some type of mistake, and it's all about how we learn from it and grow from it. So I just taught myself to remain calm always, because everything is going to work out for the good. That's my life approach. So, that's truthfully in my nature and everything. Just remain calm, make it look easy. Because after all, it may be terrible in the moment, but I may have the laugh of my life in the next 5 minutes. So I look forward to that next laugh.
Erica expands on Kirk's impact by sharing how Kirk has a unique ability to connect with kids on their level while maintaining his role as the trusted adult in the room. By showing his humanity and building trust, Kirk demonstrates to his students that their voices matter and their opinions are valued.
I think one of the best things about Kirk is that he has this unique ability to relate to the kids on their level while still maintaining his position as the adult in the room. And, kids often see their teachers as like, an authoritative figure, hopefully someone they can respect and look up to, but not necessarily someone who they see as a relatable person. Right? Like, I remember being young, and we probably all had this experience where you run into a teacher outside of school and you're like, oh my God, what? They're an actual person. They're not supposed to be outside of school, And it just felt weird and kind of embarrassing, right? That's not Kirk. Like, the kids see him as a person. Like, if they ran into him, it's, hey, Cap, right? It's not weird. And that's huge, because the kids, it's like they know that they can trust him, he can relate to them without being one of those adults that's like, thinks they're one of the kids and tries to speak like the kids, and it's just weird and awkward. Like, that's not Kirk. Like, he is clearly the adult in the room, but the kids they can relate to him. They know that he can relate to them. They know he has his back. They trust him. And it just makes for one of those situations that's unfortunately very rare. I mean, there are not a lot of people who have that quality, when they're a teacher. And yeah, sure, he's not in the traditional classroom, but still, I mean, I could very easily envision a different kind of drama program with a different kind of teacher, and it wouldn't be what Greenfield's been blessed with. And I think also the kids feel like they have a voice with Kirk, which is also, I think, a rarity these days. The kids know that Kirk takes them seriously and he listens to them and he hears them. So yeah, they know that their opinion matters.
Nate highlights the immense time and effort Kirk dedicates to their productions, noting how his commitment and hard work inspire everyone involved to bring their best to the stage. This dedication not only elevates the quality of their performances, but also motivates the students to take pride in their work and push themselves creatively.
So I feel like it hasn't been said yet, but the amount of time and effort that Kat puts into the productions is crazy. Like, sometimes I won't even see it, but I'll be in the lunchroom and I look across and it's the auditorium and sets are steadily going up. And I go up to Cap and I'm like, did you get help for this? And he's like, no, this was all me. I was like, this was all you? And he does so much. He puts in so much effort. I talked about his adaptability earlier. Was one time where we had like a dropout like a month before the play, and he's like on top of it. Like, he's like instantly in the holding auditions and making sure that the cast helps the new member out and doing all these things. And like, I'll be backstage with him and he's always there. He's always ready. He always makes sure that the show goes on. And it always does because of him. Like, it's just, he does so much for the entire show, for the entire production, for the entire cast.
Erica shares how much creativity, heart, and soul Kirk pours into everything he does. No matter how tight the timeline, he always manages to get things done, putting in the hard work needed to bring his vision to life. What stands out even more is how Kirk handles stress, positively and calmly. He approaches challenges with a clear mindset, ensuring that his passion and dedication remain at the forefront while managing pressure with grace.
It's hard to relate it with words. Like, I've had the privilege of being there a lot. I've been the parent liaison, right? And so I get to sort of watch the whole thing unfold, and it is just incredible. It is beyond impressive. How much he puts into it, his heart and soul, and the creativity, and watching it all come together. And sometimes it'll be like, oh my God, Kirk, we're like a week out. He's like, it's okay. We got this. It's good. We're going to be good. And I'm like, really? And yes. Wow. Yes. And he just, I mean, the man works so hard, but loves it. Like, he never seems like, if I worked that hard, I'd be totally stressed out all the time. I mean, he does it, and he with joy, and just, yeah. And I mean, the kids never feel like crazy stressed, like they're just having fun, and but then it's a great show. I mean, it's not just like, oh, it wasn't that a cute production. It's like, wow, that was really good, and in the meantime, they've had fun with it the whole time. It's really impressive.
What keeps Kirk going is the creativity he sees in his students. He loves watching them explore their freedom to create, ensuring that their sense of responsibility never overshadows their creative expression. For Kirk, it's all about finding that balance, allowing students to take ownership of their work while still fostering a space for creativity to thrive.
I love the creativity of kids' minds, right? So Nate, Erica have heard me say before, at the end of every show, especially for the 8th graders, is to never allow responsibility to overtake creativity. So to watch the creativity, the free advance that they have to create without any responsibilities of a bill, of a, of what's coming on the food later on tonight and things of that nature. I really want and I really love to see kids create. The most beautiful thing for me is to watch a kid by him or herself creating a world, right? So like I remember doing when I was younger, playing with my action figures, and just creating a world. I couldn't get out the tub until this story was finished. So I had thousands of toys inside of the tub with me, and so my fingers were shriveled to create this story, whatever that was. And I couldn't get out until it was done. So, and I watch kids all the time while they're playing, while they're on stage, create in their minds. And we as adults, that goes away at times because responsibility kicks in. But to watch their love of creativity and creating is what it's like a memorable moment for me.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us today to learn more about Kurk Watson, our February honoree and recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. To read more about his story, you can visit our website at honored.org or click the link in the episode description. If you have a teacher who you want to recognize and nominate for our teaching award, you can head to honored.org/nominate to recognize a teacher today. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can follow us and leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening in from. Thanks again for listening, and make sure to tune in next month to hear the incredible story of our March honoree.